They called her the vampire of the Amazon, a pale woman in white, seen drifting through the fog at dawn. Chickens drained of blood, children vanishing, a trail of whispers and claw marks stretching deep into the rainforest. Camille Monfort wasn't born a legend. She became one. This isn't a ghost story. This is a real name. Camille Monfort, attached to a legend so strange, so persistent, it survived without proof. No grave, no photograph, no record of her death. And yet, they still say she walks the rivers of French Guiana. Pale, silent, unafraid. A vampire, they whispered. But what if the truth is stranger? What if she wasn't a monster at all, but something colonial society feared even more? If you stay with me to the end, I'll show you why some women didn't need fangs to be called dangerous. And if you enjoy these quiet corners of forgotten history, subscribe. This is Chronicles and Curiosities, and this is the story of Camille Monfort. Let's begin with what little we have. Camille Monfort was said to have arrived in the late 1800s in either Belay or Saint-Laurent-du-Maroni, French Guiana. She was European, possibly French, elegant, alone, unexplained. Some say she once sang in Paris salons, others that she kept entirely to herself. There is no known record of her birth, no confirmed documentation of her arrival, no burial listings in colonial cemeteries, and yet she left behind a shadow, a rumor, a whisper passed from settler to soldier to villager, that Camille Monfort wasn't what she seemed, that she brought death, that she fed in the dark, that she was a vampire. Colonial society didn't know what to do with women like Camille. In these remote and brutal outposts, built to punish and contain, women were supposed to play a role. Nurturers, converts, attachments to men, not mysteries. To arrive alone in French Guiana, to live without family, without religion, without submission, that alone would have drawn suspicion. And in places where disease was rampant, where death came quickly and explanations were few, fear found targets easily. Camille didn't need to do anything wrong. She just needed to be herself. History is full of women who were made into monsters for stepping outside the line. In Hungary, Countess Elizabeth Bathory, possibly innocent, was accused of killing hundreds of girls. In New England, as tuberculosis swept through communities, bodies of women were exhumed and burned, called vampires, simply for dying first. In colonial Caribbean, white and mixed-race women who owned property or refused marriage were accused of blood rituals. In Senegal, teachers and nurses living alone were blamed when children fell ill. No one could prove they did anything, but that was never the point. They didn't fit. And so they were named unnatural, unholy, dangerous. Camille's story, what little there is, follows this exact pattern. Not as a crime, but as a refusal to comply. Vampire stories do well in places where answers are hard to come by. And in 19th century French Guiana was just such a place. Disease, isolation, power hierarchies that punished difference. So when Camille arrived, quiet, alone, and untouched by the heat, she was already becoming legend. They said she walked alone at night, that she made eye contact and men forgot what they were saying, that children were warned not to speak her name out loud. But were they seeing her or something else? What do you think? Were these stories about monsters or about the people who made them? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your take. What happened to Camille Monfort? There is no grave, no obituary, no known relative, no closing act. Some say she walked into the forest and was never seen again. Others say she became a ghost story told by children near the river. But something about her stayed. In later years, people still spoke of a pale woman in the trees. Sometimes they gave her a different name, but the shape was always the same: alone, silent, feared. The word vampire entered Western Europe in the early 1700s, pulled from Slavic languages. It came with exhumations. People who died mysteriously were dug up. If their bodies hadn't decomposed, they were blamed for feeding on the living. It was a way to explain illness, a way to blame someone, and most often, it was women. Widows, healers, unmarried, living just beyond the edge of town. Vampirism was never just about blood. It was about boundaries. Who stayed in their place and who didn't. So here's the truth we promised at the beginning. Camille Monfort may never have existed. There's no archive entry, no confirmed home, no official record. But the story they told about her, that is real, because it repeats again and again across history. A woman lives outside the rules, and society creates a name for her: vampire, witch, monster. Camille didn't need fangs. She didn't need victims. She just needed to refuse the script. And that was enough to become legend. Thank you for joining me for this journey into the shadows. If this left you thinking, subscribe. There's more to uncover, more echoes to follow. Until next time, stay curious.